All right, welcome to another episode of Medicine Mondays. I am yours truly, Dr. Pierre, your favorite board certified internist, host of Medicine Mondays, the Real Physician Reacts, as well as the Lunch and Learn with Dr. Barry. This week, this is going to be like a part two of last week's discussion. So if you did not catch last week's discussion, we talked about the importance of needing your doctor to brand themselves. And I felt like even after I did the episode and I listened to it, I felt like part of it was missing, right? Like I felt like I told kind of the front half of the story and really put the onus on, the doctors or, just insert yourself if you're a small business owner, entrepreneur, like boom, like, yes, you definitely need to do what you need to do to earn that trust and to build credibility within your community, however small or large your community is. But I didn't talk about the other aspect I think is just as important when we're talking about some business, some doctor trying to establish themselves as, that person, right? Like for Dr. Barry Pierre to be Dr. Barry Pierre, like, yes, Dr. Barry Pierre has to do the work, right? I have to get online. I have to talk on podcasts. I have to do all of these things there. But I also need the audience on the other side verifying that what I'm saying isn't BS. And I think this episode, I kind of aptly titled it "Giving Your Doctor Credit." And obviously, I'll definitely keep it more health focused on this one because I think it's something that doesn't get talked about enough, especially when it comes to choosing your doctor. So we all know, just to kind of give a scenario, we all know when we're looking to eat at a new restaurant and we're thinking about where I want to go and, what food I want there. First thing we do, we go online, we do our searching, right? Maybe we start maybe asking around, right? We're looking for prior reviews that say, hey, you know what? This restaurant is good. And if you happen to go to this restaurant, this is the meal you should get. And that makes all of the sense in the world. We've gotten to the point where we are very review driven in terms of what we eat, where we eat at, where we vacation, where we stay, all of these things there were very review driven. But unfortunately, the same doesn't hold as much weight when it comes to seeing your doctor. Now, we've talked a lot about the importance of word of mouth because as a physician, especially if you're doing outpatient medicine and you're trying to just build your practice, word of mouth is going to do so much good because it continues to drive home the fact that, like, hey, this is a doctor you need to go see. Like, you're going to love Dr. Pierre when you go to see him. And I remember when I got out of residency and I was doing my thing, right, and I started kind of promoting myself from the video related standpoint on my Facebook lives. Like, I remember having patients who not only were driven by the fact that I was online kind of talking health related education, but I seemed personable even through the video without them ever having to meet me, right? So I was able to get out there, put myself out there, and one, kind of let them know that, hey, yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about. Two, this person, this new doctor that you're going to be going to isn't like some scary person that you're going to have to worry about. And he seems so personal and happy that you're going to feel comfortable. But I think when it comes to the patient, now I put myself on the patient side. When it comes to the patient, how often are you going to, review sites and, rating your doctor? How often, and especially when they're doing a great job, right? Because I think it's very easy for us, especially if you look at these Yelp reviews and all these other reviews, it's very easy for us that when someone is not doing a good job, for us to run out online and, scream to the world and, put a review on all these different review sites. But when your doctor is doing a great job, how many of you, I want you to think about it, how many of you are like going to that same review website for doctors and saying, this doctor is amazing. They took care of my kids. They took care of my mom. They took care of me. Like, how many of you guys are doing that, right? I'm going to just pause just so we can kind of think about the last time any of us, actually gave a credible review for the doctor who was taking care of us, right? Like, just think about that. And better question, why aren't we doing that? Because when I talk about the aspect of a physician getting out there, branding themselves, one of the biggest reasons why I say it is because how many of you have had to go see a new doctor, you didn't know who the doctor was, and you went to Google their name, and 4 different websites popped up that had nothing to do with doctor. they were like Doximity, they were Google reviews, they were Vitals. I forget what the other like health grades or something like. There were all these different websites that are primarily there because they know a lot of doctors don't do what they need to do as far as branding themselves, getting their own personal website. And because they don't do that, and they know people are going to be looking for them and say, hey, I'm going to make my own website, right? Because the data information is free. I'm going to create my own website. I'm going to put ads all over this website. And when someone comes looking for Dr. Pierre, because Dr. Pierre isn't on his P's and Q's, they're going to come to our website and we're going to generate ad revenue. So imagine you being a physician, you went through all of that hard work and schooling and everything else and residency training and everything, and you don't even have any online presence. So now that someone else, because they know you don't have online presence, is making money off of you. That's what happens every single day of the week. The majority of physicians, unfortunately, do not have a presence so that when you go to Google them, those same review websites that I mentioned don't pop up. And again, that's something that I wanted to make sure I took care of ASAP. So again, obviously go, pause the video or pause the audio that you're listening to and go to just Google my name and see how many websites of mine, right, that I own, that I help control, how many pop up rather than the health grades, the vitals. Now, mind you, those things are still going to pop up because again, that, they pay money to make sure they pop up. But like, at least you're going to see drbarrypierre.com. You may see my Facebook page. You may see, I think there's another page when I used to work at that. Like, you're going to see some pages that, again, reflect what I want to be out there. And as a physician, unfortunately, I am in the minority in a lot of sense of the word, as far as getting online, having an online presence, because I understood the first half of branding was putting myself out there. But today we're talking all about that second half, right? What are your patients doing to make sure you stay out there? Because again, I love you. I love that, you tell your family and friends when you see them, but like, I also need you to have that same energy when I'm doing a good job to put it online. Go to your Google reviews, whichever one you choose. They're all pretty much the same thing, but whichever one you choose, I need you to have that same energy. Say, no, this doctor is absolutely amazing, and this is why you need to go see him. Why? Because other prospective patients are looking at those same websites, trying to decide, is this the doctor I'm going to choose? Like, how many times have you looked and you need to choose a new doctor, or your doctor wants to send you to a specialist, and you go to Google that specialist, and you're like, they don't got really too many reviews, or it's just not enough information for you to make a credible decision. But imagine if they did that same web search, and then all of a sudden there's like 10, 15, 20 reviews, all saying similar things from different people, saying, no, this doc is amazing. She took great care of my family. She takes great care of me. Like, imagine if that was the review setting. And mind you, this unfortunately is not a common procedure or phenomena. Like, when I did my outpatient medicine, one of the things I did, I would go to libraries, and I would go to senior living facilities and kind of just promote myself, talk about myself, educate myself. I just did what I always did because, again, I knew what I needed to do to bring up my status within the community, as well as drive patients to my practice. So I did what I had to do. But one of the things we really instituted, especially when we started going on, is that when we start actually having patients come to our office, and when we knew we did a good job, because we did a good job, right? When we knew we did a good job, right, we would let them know, like, hey, I'm online. But by the way, if you had a great time, please go ahead and leave us a review on Google Review and everything. Now, there are some practices, right, that are so systemic in the way of doing it, right? Like, not only when you're about to leave their office, they hand you like this kind of like postcard and say, hey, here are the directions to leave us a great review. Boom, boom. Like, they just incentivize their patients to post great things about them online. Because again, a lot of times when something as good is happening to you, you're not necessarily, especially in the health field, right? And I preface that with the health field, because if I'm having a great time at a restaurant, especially in this day and age, if I'm having a great time in the restaurant, I'm posting it online. If I'm having a great time on vacation, I'm posting it online. and I have a great time at the restaurant I'm eating, and I'm posting it online. I'm posting it online for the world to see, like, hey, I'm having a great time. I'm having great food. Like, I love where I'm at. And by the way, look at where, like, we're doing that because we do it publicly. But for some reason, when it comes to our health, especially when we're having a great time with our health, we don't have that same energy to post on, like, hey, just let the doctors, like, we're not doing that. And again, we don't want you, right? Again, I don't necessarily want people in your business, right? Hey, I just left the doctor's office. We're not saying to do that, right? Because that's kind of seems kind of weird. Maybe, I don't know. But we are saying that if, right, you're having that great time and you're having that great relationship with your doctor, right? Like, why aren't you then turn around with that same energy, going to these review websites and saying, like, all right, I love this doctor. I love their office staff. Like, why aren't you doing that as well, too? Because if you do that, you not only do you help your doctor, right? You help your doctor establish, we talked about last week, the brand, right? You help your doctor establish trust, but then you allow a prospective patient to be like, wow, if all of these people like what he or she is saying or he or she is doing, this may be my next doctor. Like, that's, and it seems like, no, duh. But unfortunately, in healthcare, and I have to preface it, in healthcare, it's not as readily accessible and it's not as readily doable as you would think, right? People don't necessarily do it. Now, mind you, I'll speak for myself. I am in I'm in the inpatient aspect of medicine, right? So I take care of patients in the hospital, long-term care facilities, rehab, right? So I'm in the inpatient side. So I don't necessarily have a drive to bring new patients because patients aren't like going to the hospital saying, like, I wonder what hospital Dr. Pierre works at. That's what I'm gonna go to. Well, some maybe, but like it's not common, right? Like, that's usually not the scenario. If you're very, very sick, you're calling 911, you're going to the hospital, right? That's usually how it goes. So because that occurs, like, I have probably taken care of thousands, right? I don't even want to give a range, but I've definitely taken care of thousands of patients during my time frame after residency, right? So this is like residency is 3 years, but like after residency, I've taken care of thousands of patients in the inpatient acute care setting. But I don't, like, if you go to search my name, I don't have thousands of reviews on, Health Grades or, all those other. I don't have thousands of reviews because in the inpatient setting, it's not common to think about. Like, I typically see patients at their lowest, at their worst. And if I'm fortunate, and, God's watching and everything kind of comes together, they're able to leave at their best or much better. Right? Like, that's usually the scenario that occurs. So even as a hospital physician, I sometimes slack on encouraging patients to say, hey, you know what? This is a good job. But I know for a fact that when I am taking care of patients in the hospital-related setting, and I'm talking to their family members, I know they Google me, right? I know they say, like, all right, this Dr. Pierre is taking care. Like, I don't know who did. Like, so they do that, right? So why don't I have a plethora of reviews from the inpatient setting, right? Again, just something to think about, right? When we're talking about this aspect of learning to brand and learning to put yourself out there, because at the end of the day, trust is everything. Because once we talked about this, once you trust the brand you want to work with, once you trust that small business owner, once you trust that entrepreneur, once that occurs, then you're able to follow directions, right? So once a doctor has earned the trust of a patient, they will follow the directions of said doctor. So as a physician, yes, I need to do what I need to do, putting myself out there, going on. Like, I need to do those things there as well too. But I also need you guys, right? I also need the patients on the other side, right, to kind of back me up, right? Like, I need you to kind of say, like, yeah, no, he's not just talking crazy. Like, he is the for real deal, right? Again, obviously, I'm not talking about me specifically. Like, you should, again, if you're watching this video and you got a great physician that's been taking care of you for years, a great surgeon, if you have someone from the healthcare field who's been taking amazing care of you, I want you to do this. Like, this is the homework, right? I usually don't give homework on these videos or these audios, right? But this is the homework. I want you to, and you don't have to do it for all. I would love if you do it for all, but you don't have to do it for all. I want you to go and choose just one. Just choose, because it's easier just to choose one, right? Because I know a lot of you may be seeing multiple physicians. I want you to just choose one doctor you're seeing. Do the Google of their name, right? Do the web searching of their name. And when one of these sites pull up, Health Grades, Vitals, Google reviews, whatever, right? It doesn't really matter. Like I said, as long as it's there. When one of these sites pull up, I want you to leave your honest comment on how great a job they're doing. That's it, right? Like nothing extraordinary. I'm not telling you, you have to, give your doctor, all this kudos and praise. I'm like, no, you can just go to those websites, right? One of them, Vitals, Health Grades. And what I'll do is in the show notes, I will put direct links to my Vitals, my Health Grades, my Google reviews as well too. Just so, I don't know if you can do a direct link to Google reviews. I think you just have to like search on Google and it pops up. But I will put a direct link to my reviews as well too, just so you can kind of see what people said to me. And if you like what I'm talking about here online, you can drop a shameless plug. You can go ahead and drop a comment for me as well, right? But I just want you to do that, right? Because this is we typically do one business related discussion, but I figured that like last week's was only half as good because it didn't tell the full story. That the full story means that not only do the physicians need to do what they need to do, but they need their patients as well, right? This is a two-way street, right? They need their patients also to hold them up, to lift them up in support, to say like, yes, what they're saying online, what they're saying on that video, on that podcast, what they're saying there is true and they're absolutely amazing. And if you have a chance and you need a doctor, this is the person you're going to go see, right? That's all I want, right? So again, I am yours truly, Dr. Barry, just absolutely loving, the Lunch and Learn community. Again, like you guys have been phenomenal this past year. Like I said, just the leaps and bounds we've been able to take. And again, especially because you guys continue to kind of grow with the Lunch and Learn community. And again, just so excited for what's to come, right? So you guys be blessed. Have a great day, evening, whenever you happen to be listening to this. And I'm going to see you guys next week.